Hit the ground running with the most revolutionary personal training program ever developed. The National Academy of Sports Medicine, the #1 choice for fitness professionals, makes it quick, easy, and affordable to learn on the go. Be your own boss and start transforming lives from 9 to 99 with the all-new certified personal training program only at NASM.org.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Random Fit. My name is Wendy Batts, and I'm here today with my co-host, Mr. Ken Miller. Ken, how are you?
I am good, Wendy. And how are you today?
I'm just living the dream every day.
I love that you say it every week.
Every day, yes.
Every
so I have
day.
to remind myself just in case I start to forget, I have to say it out loud. But we have a fun, I think it's going to be a super fun episode for you guys today. Today, we are actually talking about gym etiquette. And we want you to be a good human and clean up after yourselves, basically. But we often... I'm going to speak for myself, but I sound like I'm speaking French here because I'm saying we can, and I know that you can agree with a majority of these. Being a personal trainer, we see a lot of things happening within the gym or even people that are doing things at home, whether you're a trainer that's going to people's houses, inside, outdoors, doesn't matter. But there are there's a certain protocol that you should have while you're at the gym and certain things that you want to think about when you're at the gym, you're working out with yourself, or you and your trainer should consider when other people are around. And I think we're going to hit some fun and hot topics that sometimes people might not be aware of. So we want to bring it to the forefront. Ken, what do you think?
Yeah. No, and I think it's definitely a appropriate topic, especially now that as gyms are opening up, people are starting to go into facilities and sharing spaces. And with a lot of places, I mean, especially where I am, I think the capacity is something like 10% indoor. Those that have had outdoor capabilities definitely had, they can do what they want as far as the number of people that they have available to come in. They can, that as far as I know, there's no cap on that. But here's the thing: either way, you're sharing space, you're sharing equipment, and you're amongst other people in this environment now. So I think we do need to revisit some of these things that we used to say, okay, way back when when we used to work out. But these are the things that we're going to have to remind ourselves as far as, okay, we have to socialize again. We have to be with other people. And okay, so just as a little reminder, and for those of you that have not seen some of these things, just know that they happen. And so that if it does happen. These things do happen. And if you haven't seen some of these things that we are bringing up, then you've been very lucky up to this point. But we're gonna share a couple things, from Wendy's perspective as well as mine. I mean, Wendy, you're on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, but it's funny when we kind of prep for this, the fact that we've both seen a lot of the same stuff. It's actually it's really funny, but that's the culture of the health and gym environment as we're going to talk about it today. So yeah, why don't you start off with
I mean, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen it and we start talking about it, you will be amazed when you go back into your gym that, oh my goodness, this is truly happening, because sometimes you're just unaware. And I think we just, like I said, awareness, we want to teach you to be aware and also be very respectful to others that you're obviously sharing the facility with. And one of the first ones I wanted to start with was, man, watch your sweat. Okay. And what I mean by that is I work with all different types of individuals. And it seems like if you perspire a lot, you're on my roster for the day. And, one of the things that I notice with these guys that I train is I have them do all different levels, and especially on high impact days, or if we're doing a power day, that when I have them doing something such as a leg circuit, that their sweat will go everywhere. I have them wipe their bodies down before they go. And by the time they're finished the exercise, they are just profusely sweating. And it literally starts to like almost hit people if we don't spread away or spread out away from others, because I don't want their sweat to hit them, because I know it hits me, which is disgusting. However, this is my client. I know, I'm very close to my clientele, even though I don't want to wear their sweat. So one thing on my, high sweaters, if you will, I don't even know if that's what I should title them. I often ask them, hey, can you wear like a hoodie, a hoodie shirt? My athletes, you pretty much already do that, which I was like, in the very beginning, when I first started working with professional athletes, I was wondering, why do they come in with a hoodie? And then as I now work with them more and more, and we advance through the model, I am just grateful for it, because it kind of helps contain their sweat. But I mean, you've got to think about it, not just it being gross. I mean, obviously you don't want to wear someone else's sweat, but you want to think of it on a safety standpoint too. So people will sweat. I mean, that's just the nature of being in a gym, and that's why people are there. They're there to sweat. So just as, when you're thinking about etiquette, just wipe every piece of equipment down the best that you can. And if they sweat on the floor, or they sweat on a box, or they sweat on anything or anything around it, wipe it up immediately, because somebody could walk and hit that piece of sweat, and then end up falling. And, you don't want someone to slip or something because of something that your client did, and you just walked away from like it wasn't a big deal.
Right. And, for those solutions, when it comes to wiping things down, gyms, I mean, especially these days, I mean, they're going to be, I don't want to say over equipped, but they're going to be, well equipped with the things that you need to kind of keep things clean, like towels and a spray bottle, or paper towels, spray bottles, those wipes that are already, they already have the cleaner on them. There's some pretty cool trash cans out there that have that little dispenser.
We have those. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and those are really cool. You mean just pull out a couple, boom. Or if that you're that, what did you call it? A high sweater.
A high sweater.
After you give them a bottle of water, you got to replenish those fluids. If you're going to sweat all over everything, I mean, have the stuff ready. If your gym does have a towel service, say, hey, listen, I like to sweat a lot. Get an extra towel. I had one gym member comes to mind. His name was Brad, and he would spend an hour on the recumbent bike, and he would lay a towel under his seat on his backing, and he would have one laid out just right under the right foot pedal, right under the left foot pedal, because he knew, and it was really nice of him, because he knew that I was the guy that had to clean up after him when he got off of the thing. But if you're one of those guys that does tend to sweat quite a bit, nothing wrong with having two towels on you, nothing wrong with having the wipes ready to go, so that instead of leaving your spot, going to get the cleaner, and then coming back, if you have it there, I mean, it's just that easy. So as far as that goes, yeah, I mean, there is a safety issue, because you don't want to slip, or or from kind of, let's say, spreading viruses and things like that. You just want to be able to clean up after yourself and kind of self-contain what you leave behind. But yeah, I mean, the sweat, I mean, that's what those facilities are for. And if you're not sweating, then you're not working out hard enough. But there is, those that do tend to perspire a little bit more than the rest of us. So
that's right.
I'm actually one of those guys. Yeah.
Bring a beach towel. Like I said, another change of clothes, wipe down before, wipe down after your body. And then just be aware. For those of you guys that are joining us, we're talking about gym etiquette. I'm Wendy Batts. I'm here with Ken Miller. We just talked about don't be that crazy sweater and walk away from it. And one of the next ones, oh, this one gets me every time. Ken, when you first initially said it and then I started adding on, I mean, we just kept this laundry list going. One thing that drives me, it's a big pet peeve of mine, and it's very unsanitary, is don't walk by and spit in the water fountain. Don't do a loogie and leave it. Don't farmer blow anywhere in the gym, because that is disgusting. Or even if you're hiking and you're outside and you know people are behind you, don't do a farmer blow. Please don't do that. It's disgusting. And you never know when the wind might drift behind, and, you know, other people have to wear that, and it's gross. If you need to, you know, get something up, go to the bathroom, right? Simple.
Yeah. All right. Next topic. Well, you know, and here's the thing with water fountains, there's some facilities that do encourage you to bring your own water bottle. Yeah, bring your own flask, water bottle flask, that is, and only because their water fountains are shut off. I mean, for the most part, but I mean, just for your own safety's sake, I'll bring my own water bottle when I'm in those environments. Anyway. But yeah, just from the standpoint, yeah, that the whole water fountain thing, and thinking that that's a place to do that is, you know, I mean, I was a kid once. I'm not gonna say I'm totally innocent from this one, but
come on, Ken, that's gross.
I was younger.
I
know better. I know better now.
If you're going to fill up your water bottle too, you know, where the mouth goes, especially if you have used that, it's not a clean bottle. Just also don't put it close to, you know, where the water comes out. Like, don't let your mouthpiece touch the actual faucet. You know, that's obviously not ideal. And obviously that's another way to spread germs. So we want to avoid that. And then Ken, you want to lay on the next one?
Yeah, and this goes back to what you talked about earlier with wiping things down and sweating a lot. Well, what pieces of equipment tend to elicit that kind of physiological response? Well, cardio equipment. You know, you're in one spot for an extended period of time, and if you're running or biking or on the step mill for any higher level of intensity, you are going to drip sweat. And good for you if you do. I mean, as you should. But on the cardio equipment, couple safety pieces from that vantage point is for your safety, wipe things down before you get on it. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, and it shouldn't be offensive to the person that was getting off of the piece of equipment before you got onto it. It's not like, you know, you're gonna say, "Hey, buddy, I don't trust you." Well, you trust them, but you really don't. But just to protect yourself, you know, wipe everything down that you're going to touch. That includes the screen as well, the start button, the stop button, and any handrails that you might be using for your own safety. So if you're on the treadmill, the little side railings that are usually there, any kind of emergency stop button that's available for you, anything that, you know, makes the intensity go up with either the speed or the incline, if that's a feature. But wipe it down before and after, just for good measures, you know, so you're protecting you and your fellow exerciser in your facility.
Well, and I also want to throw in there too, especially if you're on a treadmill, the running boards where, you know, you've got the belt and you've got the two boards where you stand on when you're starting the treadmill as well as when you're stepping off. If you sweat and you're a big sweater, or even if you use some of the cleaning solutions that are out there, you want to make sure that you completely wipe it down and wipe it off, and don't leave some of that solution because it can make it awfully slippery. And, you know, and I've seen that happen before, is that, you know, people like spray it down, or they just kind of wipe it and leave it. And the next person gets on, they get on, they straddle the piece of equipment, and it's pretty slippery based on, you know, from the cleaning solution. Yeah. So just be cautious and aware. So when you're getting on there too, make sure that it's not slippery before you know, obviously start the belt, and that you feel safe being on it. But yes, definitely wipe it before and after. And another big one is kind of the equipment area. So if we're talking about, the actual weight room, which is, depending on your gym, there may be a cardio section and a weight room, and there's mirrors usually everywhere, so people can check out what they're doing. And somebody's focusing on their form, and they're focusing on something, they get their area, and you've got your spot in the gym, and you pick up a whole bunch of pieces of dumbbells or pieces of equipment that you're going to want to do your circuit, and it's a really busy day. You're hogging a lot of equipment, and then on top of that, you're utilizing a bunch of space where other people may be, needing some of that if it's not a really big gym and it's more of a boutique type gym where there's not like multiple sets of different weights. So you want to just, don't hog all the equipment. Just try to think of what are just a few pieces that you can use. I'm not saying don't grab multiple things to do your circuit the way you want to do that. It's just be very respectful. And same thing, if you're using dumbbells, especially now, I usually will tell people to go grab two, like you said, wipes, or I grab it for my clients because I'm that trainer that's very nice. So I'll grab two, I'll wipe down the handles, I'll hand them the actual pieces of dumbbells, or I'll put them on the floor, still holding the wipes, because that way I'm not just picking them up and handing them to them, and then they finish doing it, they put it down, I will get different wipes and then wipe them back off and put them and re-rack them. It kills me when I see people at the gym, and like I said, they don't wipe things off, they sweat all over it, and then they just re-rack it and they don't wipe anything down. So once again, we got to think about the transmission of viruses. We've got to think about the sweat aspect. We want to look at everything and just wipe it off.
Yeah. I mean, dumbbells are equipment too, right? We can't discount dumbbells as far as, where things can go. But, I guess to your point, it is one of those things that with, again, depending on the facility, somebody might only have an hour or 90 minutes as far as their access to the facility before they get that big old hook, and then it pulls them out of the gym and puts them out onto the street. So time can be pretty precious as far as access to the gym, whether it's designated days, designated times, just because, again, some facilities are only for a certain percentage of the capacity of people that they're allowed to let in there. So you try to cram in, everything that you can do for that session, and that might include cardio, and that might include the cable machine, that might include selectorized equipment, that'll include dumbbells. So it's not uncommon for someone to take a set of dumbbells, walk them across the room, and put it right next to their seated chest press, just to name a piece of equipment, and then they grab a band and they tie that to the nearest anchor point, and so now you've got this 3-station circuit happening around. But then again, it's not uncommon for somebody to say, hey, those 20s you got there that you've been occupying for the last 15 minutes, you mind if I get a set in there? Mind if I work in with you? Wipe them off when you pick it up, wipe them off before you hand it back. And dumbbells are just as, I guess, as good as any piece as far as the amount of people that are going to come in contact with it. So you might have to share, and I mean, depending on the facility, if they allow sharing equipment, or if you got your little section, then that whole area is yours for the time that you have it. But sometimes that is something that's open and free, and you'll have to work in with somebody, or if you have a workout partner, and you'll have to exercise caution from that standpoint too. But yeah, you're going to have to share and move on. This whole taking a break, talking to somebody for 3 minutes, and then getting your second set, that isn't going to fly anymore. So if you're just tuning in and joining both Wendy Batts and myself, we're here talking about gym etiquette on today's episode of Random Fit. So I'm sure there's a lot of people with a lot of stories out there, but these are different times, and equipment sharing is going to be one of those things that it's going to vary from gym to gym. You just have to make sure that the gym's policy as far as that goes.
Well, and I think, that actually kind of blends into two other main points that we were discussing earlier. If you are going to move the dumbbells, and I'm just picking on dumbbells, it could be any, barbell, it could be whatever it is that you want, and you're moving it somewhere. No matter what happens when you're done with your set, of course, wipe it down. We've been talking about that. We don't want to just keep pounding on that topic. However, it's super important. But this is a big one. This is a big one. Re-rack your weights and put them how about this? What are you put them back about in the right order. Like, it kills me. I'll go to pick up, where the 20s should be, there's like 35s there, or where the 50s once were, they're over on another side of the gym. And I'm like, what is happening here? So, and nobody's over there. Nobody's over there, but somebody used them at 8:00 in the morning. It's now 10. And I'm like, is anyone using those? So then I have to take the time to obviously wipe it down before I touch it, make sure that it's, completely clean, carry them over to where I need them to be, and then re-wipe them down and re-rack. So I should be the one picking up after people. I am not anyone else's mother other than a 5-year-old little boy that I actually had, and I don't mind cleaning up after because that was my choice. However, when you go to the gym, I am not your mother. I don't want to pick up your and re-rack your weights, but put them, not only put them back in numerical order, the way that they are intended to be placed. Right. That's a big one. That's a big one. And that is another one that I see all the time. Don't just put them on the top. Don't put them on the top. If they go in the bottom rack, put them on the bottom.
we might as well have named this episode Gym Pet Peeves, because because there's nothing worse than it's busy and you pick up a 20-pound and then you think the one that's next to it is a 20-pound, but you picked up a 25 or the 15. It's like, then by the time you get to the bench, you're like, dang. Okay, now you're on the hunt for the other 20. It's like, hey, dude, how many more sets? Now you got to ask somebody if you can borrow something. So, yeah, I mean, as you're saying, Wendy, and this is something that I used to do, and, people used to joke around about it with me, is that now when it comes to me putting back the 20s, and now let's just say these other set of weights are in the 20s spot, then I have to take those out, put the 20s down. You know what? What's one more, relocation of dumbbells going back where they should be? So if the 15s were in the 20s, take the 15s and put them in the 15s. Don't just put them down and put the 20s back. Good for you for that first half, but put the other ones back where they're supposed to be, and you don't have to reorganize the whole rack. Just if you just
I do. I'm so type A.
Man, yeah. I'd be like,
I mean, I'll spend, when I walk in, that's one of the things, the first thing that I do is that, I already obviously have my programs written out. So I'm thinking ahead of like what I need and, where I can cause the least amount of damage with some of the people that I have in there, because we're going to be slamming med balls. We're going to be doing a lot of different things. So I'm trying to think of where I can kind of keep the peace with my colleagues, as and as well as be respectful to the members that are in the club. And so I'll go and check everything out, and I may spend 5 minutes re-racking weights, which, I shouldn't have to do. However, if you know that they're out of order, just take the time, help somebody out, because obviously they were in too big of a hurry or they just can't count. And so, that's something, but that also kind of then brings us back to when I said there's mirrors usually that people are, at the gyms, and you've got someone that's really focusing on their form. And, obviously people use mirrors for all different types of things. And that kind of brings us into another one we have. But when you're actually using the mirror to watch, let's say, your knee positioning, when you're going into like a squat or a lunge, and you really are focusing on that. And especially as a trainer, I always want to teach my clients what they're doing. So I'll say, hey, watch this in the mirror. Do you see, this is your knee, this is your toe, this is, the position that I want you to be in. I want you to focus on that while we're doing this. And we're going to go for this count and this rep, this rep range, this tempo, whatever. So show, tell, do. I do that. I have them go. They're really focused on something. And all of a sudden, someone just walks right in front of the mirror, taking their sweet time right by us, walks in front of them. And for 2 reps that this person was doing, they missed what they were doing, and it's frustrating. It's like, just walk around an individual. Don't walk in front of the mirror. There's no need for that. If you see someone's actually using the mirror the way that the reason why they're there, then just be very respectful of your space and other people, what they're doing as well. Because same thing, if you're doing traveling hops or traveling jumps, and all of a sudden you're just in your own little world looking around, and you somebody's doing something explosive and you just walk right in front of them, that could actually increase the chance of injury for that individual. And it's not that you meant it, it's just you were just very unaware. So just be aware of your surroundings and what's going on, and stay out of people's way.
You mean these mirrors aren't for flexing in my tank top? That's, just pulling up the sleeves just a little bit, just to see a little bit more of the,
Well, how about this?
peak.
This is what I
How about
see.
that?
And we talked about this, the selfie. You're at the mirror and you're like, check out my guns, and you got your selfie and you're looking at the mirror, or it's behind, and you're flexing your back so you can post it on social media, and you're taking mirror space to do your selfies. I mean, seriously. Okay, if you want to take selfies of yourself, all the power to you, but just take them at home. I mean, I'm not an advocate for that. I don't really care, but like, we don't need to see that at the gym. I'm not here to watch you flex. And if you're practicing, for like a competition or physique or something like that, and you actually have a coach, go into one of the private rooms. A lot of these gyms, have their fitness rooms, when they're doing their cardio classes or whatever classes. And when they're not in session, that's a perfect time to be able to work on what you need to work without, being in someone's way. And I don't really want to have to look at that personally. So. Yeah.
I mean, now that we're talking about selfies, I mean, how many times have you seen now, and your gym's been open a lot longer than the gyms over here. How about the guy that takes their phone and they kind of prop it just right on the bench, right? And or on the dumbbell rack, let me just put this right there. And then that's where they want to do their bicep curls or their bench press. They're getting their PR that day. That's the other thing about, I mean, I guess we can have a whole segment on cell phone use within the gym. But yeah, I mean, you put it there, and then now you got to watch, if I'm the guy next to the guy who's got the camera going, now I got to watch out for, okay, am I in this shot? I don't want to be in this shot, or am I blocking this shot? Because, I don't want to get in his way. I want to help the brother out,
or you need those weights. You need those weights, and you're going to mess up his video because he decided to use it on a 50-pound weight, and it's time to do 50 pounds something.
Puts it on the weight rack. Yeah.
I'm like,
but you get the good angle though. On some of those racks, you prop
perfect lighting, good angle.
Perfect. The lighting's good. It's above, it just makes everything kind of pop.
Yeah, because it's all about a video shoot and a photo shoot for yourself in order to, enhance your look.
only between 2 and 3:30, and then between 9:30 and 11 in the morning. That's that. And right before closing, do all you want. But don't do it at lunch. Don't do it in the morning rush. Don't do it in the after work crowd. But something else to look up as far as the gym is concerned. Cell phone policies. That's just something you gotta be aware of, because it does get in the way, and it does give it does put you in pretty hazardous situations if someone's on their cell phone, they're not paying attention to what's going on. They've got that camera focused on them. Now they're looking at the phone versus keeping their eyes up and making sure that they know what's happening in the environment around them, because it doesn't take much. I mean, Wendy, if someone's doing a multi-planar lunge, and that means someone's lunging forward, they're lunging to the side, and then they're turning to the side. And if you think, okay, this guy's doing forward lunges, but you didn't see what else this person was doing, then you could be walking in their way if you're not paying attention to, what people have. Are they going heavy, or is their equipment overhead? So these are things that you want to pay attention to, and unfortunately, cell phones or other camera type pieces of equipment can provide a pretty big distraction. And on top of the selfies, taking pictures in the mirror, propping them on equipment, but also just taking your attention away from moving pieces of equipment, whether it's a dumbbell or, let's say, the arm of the knee extension machine. right? You just don't know if you're going to be walking in that path or not if you're busy looking at, okay, let me edit this. The lighting's a little bad. Let me just going to crop that a little bit. Let's see, what should I say what I'm doing here? What witty remark should I put on this social media post? And it's like, no, let me delete that, right? So, so I mean,
Well,
it's ridiculous. It gets ridiculous sometimes.
You know, when we're talking about cell phones, I mean, now that we're on the topic, I mean, you have to be careful too, because like you said, there's policies for cell phones for a reason, because you can't take photos, you can't take videos or anything like that when you're in the locker room. I mean, that's illegal. And you also have to think too, if you are, you know, doing a video and you have other people inside and you don't have permission and you're in your video, that could also be an issue, you know, especially like people that come to my club. Some of them are professional athletes, and, you know, they don't want to be in videos, like, for a reason. I don't post their stuff on my social media unless they say, hey, we're doing this, and they want to post it. So you have to be very respectful of who's in your video and all that stuff too, because you want to black out people's faces or blur them out because of identity. Plus, again, when you're in the locker room, it's illegal when you're, you know, taking pictures and people are showering or doing something in the background and you're not really aware of what's happening. It can be very uncomfortable, and that can get you kicked out of a gym. It literally can get you in trouble.
Right.
But a big one, huge. For a trainer, don't be on your phone texting someone when you have a client. Okay, we've already talked about that. That is a no-no. But also, if you are in the gym and you're working out, you know, people listen, you know, to podcasts. Hopefully they're listening to this while they're at the gym and they're getting pumped up and they're like, oh, I see that, or I'm not going to do that, or, oh man, I never thought of it. Because, you know, we are that good to be on everyone's podcast at the gym. But if you're listening to music and stuff like that, all the power to you. The one thing is that when the phone rings and they've got their earbuds in and, you know, and it's loud because, you know, you've got weights, you've got people talking, you've got music. And so they're like, hey, it's so great to hear from you. And they have this conversation, and everybody around them can hear this conversation. Nobody wants to hear what you have going on. No one. If you're going to take a call, kindly walk out of the gym, do your business. I'm not saying you can't take a call. Just don't take it in the gym. People don't want to hear what you have going on.
Yeah. Go to the lobby or somewhere. Go to the check-in desk.
Anywhere.
Can you imagine?
Don't stay on the floor. Like we actually had that happen, and we've had to give someone 2 warnings. If it happens again, we're going to have to remove him from the club because it's very distracting, and it's always a business call that he has to take at a certain time, and it always is the same time that he shows up to the gym. And it's very distracting, and it makes it uncomfortable for those around. You want to go there to unwind, you know, listening to what you want to listen to. That's your time, not someone talking about business.
I know. Like, can you see that though? Like, I'm finishing up my last couple exercises. I give you a call. Hey, Wendy, hey, I'm going to head over to the store on my way home. You need me to pick up anything? Yeah, no, I just bought some last week. Yeah, no, you know what? That sounds really good. Let's go. Let's have that for dinner tonight. All right, cool. How's your day? Yeah. You know, that whole scenario. It's like, take that up when you get out. I mean, I don't need to know what's on your grocery list. I don't need to know that you're short on eggs and milk, or how Billy did on his test. I mean, I hope Billy did well. But you know, from the vantage point of, that's something that, you know, do that on your own time. But when we're in a shared space, you're actually on my time as well. But I do not want to have to keep turning up the volume of my listening device just so I can drown you out. But you know, that's just the way it is. But you know, we just need to be more considerate when it comes to, you know, being in communication with other people. That's what text messages are for. And the other thing about being on the phone, again, someone could be on the phone for 2, 3, 4 minutes. And in that amount of time, they're actually occupying a space. They could be on a bench. They could be on a selectorized piece of equipment. They could be using a certain dumbbell that somebody else is waiting for. So just know that if you're the guy using that piece of equipment and you're on the phone, you're stalling somebody else out. So that's not being a good neighbor.
Well, another big one. I mean, I know we can talk about this forever, but
I
I
know
do
we
want to touch
can.
on this one because this one's a big one. You know, you've got these guys that go to the gym. It's Monday. It's National Chest Day. Everyone, you know, they're
Oh
loading up
yeah,
the bar. Yes, that's how we roll.
load her up.
Yes, and so you're doing, you know, a chest press. You've got your spotter behind you, and you're grunting as loud as you can because you're doing everything that you can to get that piece of equipment up. Don't grunt unless you absolutely have to, because we know that when you do that specific breathing, a lot of times that does give you a little more power. So I understand that there can be a time, you know, or a purpose, but when you're constantly going ugh, ugh, and you're making it really loud, and it's very distracting for others. You know, so, and then of course, you know, especially if you're using dumbbells and you're throwing up these dumbbells super heavy, you're grunting. And then when you're done, you just drop the weights and it's like an earthquake happened at the gym because of, you know, the different flooring. Sometimes it bounces, sometimes it's really loud, and then it scares people. It, you know, it just is a very big distraction. So try to limit the amount of force that you're placing on. It's not, you know, it's not good for the dumbbells either, but just try not to, you know, slam it down. Try not to grunt. Try not to sweat. And if you sweat, grab your towel, wipe it off. And this is another one. When you're done with the towel, put it in the bin when you're done. Another thing, and maybe this should have been the pet peeve. I'm not there to pick up your sweaty, nasty towels, and no trainer should have to do that. Just use your towels, be respectful. Try not to use like a 50,000 towels, especially if they're just available and you're just using one and then putting it away, because there is someone that has to actually clean those towels. But if no matter what you need to do to keep your gym clean, safe, and obviously keep yourself wiped down, just when you're done, please put it in the towel bin.
Please put it away.
Yes. This has been so fun. I mean, I love these are the ones that I could talk about all day, because it's just personally, I see it all the time. So I don't know, Ken, it's always fun chatting with you anyway, but
yeah, I just say that, you know, and if all those things are things that you do not want to see, then, you know, that's a big sign that you need your own home gym, you know, or work out in your basement or your garage. But that's just the reality of things. And hopefully that, you know, you spending this time with us has given you some ideas on how you can be a better neighbor in your facility, in your health club or your gym. And, you know, that way, you know, we can't expect everybody to listen to this podcast and hear some of the things that we had to say about spitting in the sink, wiping things down, you know, put your stuff away, re-rack your dumbbells. But if you as a listener take these points and, you know, you be the better neighbor, lead by example, hopefully, you know, then in that case, we've served our purpose for this episode, the Random Fit podcast for gym etiquette. So, Wendy, again, always great to see you. And these topics, I'm sure we'll have a lot more that brings smiles and has us reminiscing about yesteryear on working out with other people, sharing equipment. But if you like what we have to share with you today, and you like what we've got in our library of other episodes, please follow, like, share, download, and we look forward to spending time with you in the future. So until then, take care and be well.